We stay in California, and we stay with energy. This is the oil program from Kern County, California. Daphne Washington, who is the director of Kern County Waste Management Department, is here along with Chuck McGee.
Thank you for this opportunity to tell you about Kern County's oil recycling program. It was developed in response to the ongoing problem of improper used oil disposal. Improper used oil disposal is, in fact, improper motor oil is a hazardous waste which, when not handled properly, poses a serious environmental risk. 1 gallon of used motor oil can contaminate up to 250,000 gallons of drinking water. Prior to the implementation of the program, the state of California and the county of Kern focused our efforts on educational campaigns designed to teach the public about the hazards of used motor oil and to provide them collection opportunities to safely dispose of their waste oil. Those efforts were costly to operate, were limited in terms of the level of service available to the community, and also were only marginally successful in terms of the amount of used motor oil collected. The oil recycling program initiated a radically different approach to the problem. It focused on creating the market for re-refined oil and establishing the infrastructure necessary in order for the private sector to be able to maintain a closed-loop recycling program. We went about this by forming partnerships with the manufacturers of re-refined oil base stocks, motor oil blenders, marketers, auto parts stores, local racetracks, and NASCAR race teams to test, promote, and market re-refined oil. These partnerships created the opportunity for us to approach, educate, and convince NASCAR race drivers to test re-refined oil in their $100,000 race cars. The top finishing driver in each race using re-refined oil was brought into the winner's circle and interviewed regarding the performance of re-refined oil in their race cars. These interviews with the drivers and their head mechanics regarding this performance convinced not only race fans, but also other NASCAR race teams to try re-refined oil in their cars as well. And within a short time, there were more teams running on re-refined oil than using virgin oil. These testimonies also served to convince several fleet managers in the county to convert their fleets to re-refined oil. And we have brought on board several school districts, a major ambulance company, as well as car dealerships who are sending cars off their lot with re-refined oil today. Well, this success created the market that we desired for re-refined oil, which in turn increased the demand for used oil, which could be re-refined or recycled. This provided local auto parts stores the incentive that they needed to begin to carry re-refined oil products, as well as to set up permanent used oil collection opportunities at their stores to service their customers' needs. At the beginning of the program, there were only 3 used oil collection centers in our 8,000 square mile county, and they reported collecting over only about 4,500 gallons of used motor oil in a year. We could only find 1 retail outlet that even carried re-refined oil, and it reported sales of only 15 gallons a year. We now have over 61 used oil collection centers in our county, and they reported collecting over 30,000 gallons of used motor oil in 1999 alone. In addition, the sale of re-refined oil has skyrocketed to over 55,000 gallons in 1999 alone. In addition, at the customers' demands, we are also collecting used oil filters, and over 6,000 of those were collected in 1999. In the 3 years that this program has been in effect, we have collected over 60,000 gallons of used motor oil. This is oil that was not previously being accounted for in any hazardous waste program, and which we fear was being improperly disposed either by being poured on the ground or sent to our local landfills where it could cause environmental risk. The use of re-refined oil has also helped to conserve a natural resource. It is estimated that in order to produce an amount of virgin oil equivalent to the 55,000 gallons of re-refined oil sold in 1999 would require 12,000 barrels of crude oil. Therefore, in 1999, this program conserved about 12,000 barrels of crude oil. The benefits of this program already extends beyond Kern County. Several other jurisdictions in California have implemented a similar oil recycling program at their local racetracks after attending a workshop hosted by our county to teach them how to set up and manage an oil recycling program. After 1 year of implementation, they are experiencing results similar to what we saw in Kern County. It is exciting to know that the threat of environmental damage will decrease with every gallon of used oil collected, and to know that a valuable resource is being conserved each time a customer chooses re-refined oil. Chuck McGee is here, and he will assist us in answering any questions that you may have.
We thank you for that presentation. And it is not true that you have Richard Petty here as a guest?
We sincerely regret that we could not bring our local racetrack owner and our driver, one of our drivers here, but this is a very busy time at the racetracks. It is the October Classics, and they could not come. So you're stuck with us.
Okay. It's the biggest spectator sport in America.
Yes, it is.
Ed Dorn.
One way of appreciating the magnitude of your accomplishment, that is 12,000 barrels of crude oil, but I'm wondering whether you can give us another perspective by telling us what this represents of the millions of quarts of crude oil that must be consumed around your neighborhood every year.
We currently estimate that of the 600,000 people in Kern County, that there are 150,000 automobiles which use an average of 3 gallons per year in their normal maintenance. So we currently estimate that 450,000 gallons of motor oil is used in some way in Kern County each year. The 55,000 is the equivalent percentage of that. Exactly.
No, I think less than that.
I'm sorry, 450,000?
450, so we're basically at about a tenth of what we're at now.
Yeah, Antonia?
Other jurisdictions had replicated. Can you tell me what those jurisdictions, who they are?
Stanislaus County and Sonoma County were one of the original attenders of the workshop who had available racetracks that they had hoped to work with. Some of the people that were at the track during these seminars were able to get them in touch with people directly, and those two counties have set up identical programs to what ours was in terms of how they use the racetrack, how they promote the re-refined oil to increase the amount of used oil collected.
You have a follow-up, Antonia?
The follow-up is, this is really innovative. Have you had any cooperation or communications with the traditional environmental groups who are always trying to reach the blue-collar type of consumer?
In the last 2 years, we've been contacted by a number of different groups that, as the numbers came out on what we had done and what the results were, people who had shied away from racing or any association with that type of marketing are beginning to look at it in a whole new light. In other words, they had focused on the environmental message and not used someone like an auto racetrack to try to promote what they wanted to get done. But now they're starting to see that these are not exclusive of each other, and that by working with those groups, they can basically partner with them to get to where they want to be in terms of results.
David Osborne?
From time to time, the market for recycled newspaper disappears and other recyclables. And the really clever thing about what you did was you went out and created a market. Could you apply that to something like newspapers to create a bigger market for recycled paper?
I believe it's possible. We don't see any reason why it's not. It's such as one of the things we had looked at is the plastic 2-liter soda bottles and the materials that are made from that, which are very expensive, high-quality items. By pushing those type items, you increase the demand for that product. So across the board, there's no reason that this couldn't be applied to each commodity, because that recycling is basically the use of a commodity.
And that's the message that we've been trying to communicate to our integrated waste board in California, that really they need to focus on developing the markets, and then things will follow, because recycling is not recycling until it is turned into something that someone else will purchase and utilize.
If specifications for new cars go up in terms of motor oil, what happens to the program?
If they go up, I don't believe it'll be a major problem. We're talking about the difference between a Type 1 and Type 2 base oil, which I assume you're familiar with. The re-refined base stock may lag slightly behind it, but not significantly so. The requirements on the oil tend to get stricter every year as the engines get stricter, and everybody plays catch-up, so it may take 6 months, it may take 18 months, but those base stocks will be increased to the level to allow for all the certifications. And they have completed the work with a lot of it, such as like Mercedes-Benz is a normal user of that in all their new cars, and it will be able to trickle down through the approvals using those type engines.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.